In this video, I'd like to talk to you about the file check feature of TextMaster. The file check feature will open a given file, scan through it to give you an idea of the structure of the data. Very often, if you have a large text file which you cannot open in any other utility, you waste time converting it to something else just to find out halfway through the conversion that a few lines, maybe 1 million records in, have a couple fields more or a couple fields less than other lines in your text. So this can lead to a lot of wasted time and big headaches. So what we've done is created this file check utility. Now, here I have a large file, approximately 193 megabytes, and I'd like to check it to see what the structure is like. So if I open it in the file check, it will first scan the initial 10,000 or so lines to give me a rough idea, and it will show me the first 100. After this, let's make this a little bigger. Okay, so this is what my file looks like, and I know when it was created, I know when it was modified. It's figured out that it's comma delimited, but in some situations it may have guessed wrong, or you may have to change this to have it interpret the file differently. In this case it's correct, so we can keep going, and it knows that it's about 200 megabytes. It's delimited, and what it's done is it scanned the first 10,000 lines to check for structure, to figure out the delimiter and whatnot, and given the first 10,000 lines, 100% of the file is identical in terms of structure. So now you're saying, okay, well maybe my problems are later than the first 10,000 lines, in which case you would run a complete check, which depending on the size of the file could take some time, but it's usually fairly reasonable. So if we run the check, alright, so I sped up the video there. Now that it's complete, we get a more thorough picture of the document. For example, we know that this document contains 2,019,304 lines, and that the number of fields on the first line matches the number of fields on the last line, and furthermore, the variable sign says that there are no variables in the structure. It is 100% the same. We can check that also by clicking the distributions button, which will say that we have 2,019,304 lines of length 10. If there were a few lines with different lengths, it would have given us here, it would say length 9, 8, whatever, dot count, which would be the number. So this tool alone can save you a great deal of time and pain in validating that the text is correct. Furthermore, if you wish to interpret the data with a different encoding or code page, as it's otherwise called, you can change that here. If you've checked the file and you're happy that the structure's solid, and now you'd like to see more of the data, you can click the Create Connection button, which will scan the file once again and pop up the connection wizard. So now I can just click through this. Again, delimited comma. I'm not sure if the first line had field names, so I guess let's take a quick look. Nope. So create connection. Next. Well, we do know that every field is in quotes, so that's useful, and those quotes are in fact double. But no, the first line does not contain field names, so we can do that here, and we can certainly rename these if we think we know what they are. So to me this seems like first name, last name, first name, last name, and so on. Once we're done that, we click Finish. We can view the data. And again, this will take some time because of the sheer volume, the 2 million records. But we'll see it in a second. Alright, so now that we have the data, by default it only displays 200,000 records at a time, but we can use the seek buttons up here to move through the data left or right. So let's say, well, we have first name, last name. Now what I could have done is I could say first name, name, plus, space, plus, last name as name, and then field 2 and field 3 and so on if I wanted to put those two into one. But every time I run it, it takes some time to go through the file again, so I will not do that right now. But to show you the seeking, if we wanted from 1 to 100 results, we could put that here, click Seek, and we have the line number 1 through to 100. If we want it to display all 2 million, we can, but it will take some time. By default, it does go in these 200,000 record increments just to save on memory. So that being said, if we were to go to the end of the file, which is this one, go to end, the weird behavior with the scroll bar here is to signify that it's seeking, not going from the beginning of the file. So that will take a second. Alright, so now we are at 1,800,000 and so. But if we were to do from 1 to the 2,019,000, that would rescan the whole file. So now that it's completed, you can see that all 2 million records are in the chart here. So I can go to any line number, and there they are. Now, it should be worth mentioning that if you do a where clause here, where last name equals William, just because you have a seek set from 1 to 100 does not mean that it will only check from 1 to 100. It will still go through the entire file to get the results, and then you seek through the results. So there is some confusion there, but rest assured that the seek is a view and the filter applies to the entire document. To view more about TextMaster, please visit our website at www.exnp.com/tm. Thank you for watching.